There is absolutely no reason for me to be wearing a jacket right now, other than the fact it makes me feel like a don. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. Today we are going to have a chat about the big BC, the big kahunas, the big cheese. Now we're going to talk about body confidence. Yikes. Or some kind of version of body confidence anyway. How I like to think of body confidence in a non-terrifying way. So if you've stuck around here for a while, you will know that things took a weird turn around here last year, and somehow I went from point blank refusing to even try a t-shirt on in a Primark haul video to wearing clothes made of inflatable furniture and laughing my head off about it. I don't really know how it's happened, but I have managed to turn things around a little bit after spending, no exaggeration, the last 10 years every single day battling crippling body image problems that at some points genuinely ruined my life. Guess that's kind of my thing. Used to hate myself. Now I think I'm alright. I know how all-consuming and like utterly miserable it can be to have your own reflection just completely ruin your day. I've cried many times while trying outfits on, seriously. Like, stick some rain filters over the top, nice bit of desaturation, Christina Aguilera's Beautiful playing over the top. Most of my get ready sessions for nights out could have been a really miserable music video. But last year I had a bit of a weird, unexpected epiphany almost, and I kind of realised that I just didn't really want to hate myself anymore. Like, when you boil it down, it's as simple as that. I literally woke up one day and I was tired of it. Turns out hating yourself is really quite exhausting, takes up a lot of headspace, and I've basically been taking it day by day with this whole body confidence thing and figuring it all out along the way. But if you are coming from that place that I spent so long living in, and I still very much like to frequent on the weekends, I pop back there now and again, you know how it is. When you're in that kind of place, the internet's idea of body confidence can be pretty much terrifying. The whole like, love yourself, in my underwear, look at my belly rolls on the beach, like woo! It is inspiring and it is beautiful, but it can also feel completely intimidating and very unimaginable when you have spent your whole life wishing that you could change every part of yourself. That version of body confidence I never ever clicked with and never found particularly useful. So that is what we're going to have a chat about today. We're going to strip it back. It's a marathon, that's for sure, it's not a sprint, and this stuff, it takes some work, it takes a long time. So we're going to talk taking literally the first teeny tiny minuscule baby steps and getting yourself like even an inch from that starting line when it comes to body confidence. The finish line might still be a million bajillion miles away. It is for me as well. I am still not there by any means. Like, you don't see the bits of footage that don't make it into the videos where I'm just weeping. So these are going to be my 10 realistic baby step tips for kicking things off with accepting your body and hopefully finding that it makes your life a little bit brighter. So I hope this helps. Okay, number one, I've just realised I haven't drunk any of my coffee yet because I've been chatting so much. Number one, join your own team. It's gonna get real cheesy around here. Before you even start like freaking out about this whole thing and envisioning yourself in a bikini thinking, why God, why? Hold up one moment. The first thing is just making the decision, and very simply, that decision is just that you're gonna give yourself a bit of a break. I totally know firsthand what it's like to try and get through life in your teens, your 20s, whatever age you are. I mean, I've hit that point. If you're past that, I totally know what it's like to live your life with that voice in your head that's constantly telling you that you're not good enough. And honestly, like, the voice doesn't disappear when you've decided to go a bit easier on yourself, but you can absolutely just like start to turn the volume down a little bit, kind of like Ross in that episode of Friends, you know. Can you shut the f up? Look in the mirror, tell yourself you're on the same team. There might be that voice that's trying to get in the way of both of you, but you're on the same team. You know, you're stuck with yourself for a long time, so you've got to start being considerate to that person in the mirror who deserves your respect, that girl who gets nothing but abuse from your mind. You've got to start being on her team. She needs it. Number two is be kinder to yourself. So I mentioned that inner voice. Oh, that inner voice. Told you that you're not good enough, told you you're not worthy of wearing this or doing that. Why are you wearing that? You can't wear that. You know, that guy. That guy. We all hate that guy. Who invited that guy? But the weird thing about it is that I would never dream in a million billion years of even thinking, let alone listening to or speaking to or saying or believing any of the things I think about myself and my own body to anybody else in the whole galaxy. So why do I think it's okay to put those opinions onto myself? I am a person. I deserve the respect that I would give to anybody else and their body. So the answer is that it's not okay. And to counteract that, you have to start being a little bit kinder to yourself. If that doesn't come naturally to you, because it is genuinely a skill that you have to learn, I think, being kind to yourself, then maybe think of it this way. And I always say, try and talk to yourself in the same way that you would talk to your best friend. Like, think of your best friend and then think of the things you say about your body. Think of your best friend saying those awful, horrible, insulting things about herself. Would you listen to those comments and tell her that she's right and she can't wear that and that she should be ashamed of how she looks? Or would you do everything in your power to convince her that she is beautiful and a goddess and good and worthy of the very best in life? I think we all know the answer to that. One of the most useful things that I've been told about all of this malarkey is to try and address the kindness to your younger self instead, if you don't feel that you want to address it to your current self. The little, kind, wide-eyed, loving child that you were before all of this crap took hold, he or she or they are still in there somewhere, so talk to them instead. They deserve compassion and kindness. You deserve to speak to yourself with kindness and love and respect. Whatever your body looks like, whatever size you are, whatever shape, even if that is totally overwhelming and too much to think about, just make that promise to just give yourself a little break and be a little bit kinder. Number 3, I would recommend having a look into body acceptance. I think we all know by now, you can pretty much always rely on the internet to ruin everything after a while. And because it kind of gets thrown around so much and it's become such a marketing tool, body confidence now has almost kind of turned into a bit of a character of itself. Like some kind of Frankenstein's monster leaning over to show a role while wearing a bikini. Ooh, spooky. You know, even me sitting here harping on about it, I mean, I can still walk into Topshop and buy a pair of jeans. I'm still very aware of my like beauty standards privilege, the availability of clothes to me. You have got to open your eyes a little bit to it all. And those bodies that are all over the hashtag body positivity, hashtag body confidence zone of the internet, they are very beautiful, but they're not particularly helpful when you're trying to seek out people who, you know, look a bit like you and your squidgy bits. But I came across the phrase body acceptance online, which is something that I found I relate to and needed so much more. Body confidence quite often seems like something that's making money. Body acceptance feels like something that is useful in real life. Confidence itself has never ever been something that comes naturally to me. It's probably why I spend my life largely alone, hanging out with my cat, talking to a camera. I don't connect with anything to do with the phrase confidence, but acceptance is something that I can happily adjust to and get on board with. My aim has always been to make how I feel about my body kind of irrelevant to the bigger picture rather than making the body the focus of my celebrations. I find it much easier to accept rather than to celebrate at the moment. So that might be something that you relate to as well. Number 4, I think, maybe, curate your social media. The good old internet again. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the blurst of times, stupid monkey. So the majority of prominent social media, if you're into your fashion and beauty influencers, is giving us such a warped idea of what a typical body really is. It's been that way for years. When I was a teenager, and where a lot of my problems came from, I suspect, was that the internet, largely Tumblr and MySpace at that point, the internet was obsessed with heroin chic and thigh gaps. Oh, really miss them. Miss all that chat about thigh gaps, don't we? That was really worthwhile, actually. Now, just to point out the ridiculousness of all of this, it's the same toxic crap, but it's big bums and big thighs, ironically the opposite of a thigh gap, and tiny waists and very square jawlines I'm noticing as a thing at the moment. As someone who is kind of on the inside of it to some extent, social media and the fashion and beauty industries largely come hand in hand a lot these days. So on social media, we still get a very narrow marketing view for most advertising. And with that, the body and the look that equates to popularity and success and beauty. Because you see it constantly flooding your feed every single day. And social media also comes with that aspect of being so real and such a representation of real life. It tricks everyone into thinking that people look like that all the time. We are the average. We are the ones that are actually everywhere in real life, even though it might not feel like it on Instagram. So remind yourself of that. Try and take a small step to detox your social media bubble from literally anyone who makes you feel inferior or leaves you comparing yourself in any way. Get rid, even if that's me, bin me off, I don't mind. As a general rule, I would say unfollow if they are not inspiring, empowering, or entertaining you. Sometimes that classic, shiny, aspirational content can actually be really draining and not very much fun to be involved with. Aspirational is actually exhausting. Mix it up a bit. Follow a big range of diverse bodies that look like yours, that's important, but that also look like the wider society that we live in. So follow people who don't edit their photos. Follow mid-sized folks, follow fat folks, older folks, follow disabled folks, non-binary folks. Like, it sounds so insignificant and basic and easy, but I cannot tell you how helpful this was for me. It is almost like a wake-up call and a big reminder that the crap on your phone most of the time, it's not real. Number 5, wow, we're officially halfway. Wear what you want to wear. So this comes from another little mini epiphany that I had a few months ago. Just can't get enough of them. Just ding, ding, ding. I always kind of thought that I had a fairly uninteresting, kind of beige sense of style that could just generally be summed up with like a lot of black leggings, a lot of black jeans, a lot of black tops, a lot of oversized sack type things. But actually, that wasn't my sense of style at all. And that was a sense of style that I felt obliged to have because I didn't think I deserved to express myself through my clothes or through an individual kind of sense of style because my body didn't look like a model. And that, realizing that was like someone had popped my brain. I'd always thought I loved big, baggy, oversized clothes and stuff, and to some extent I still do, but a lot of it came from just wanting to hide my body all the time because I felt that it wasn't worthy of style. So I would say make a real effort to think about the clothes that you actually want to wear, that you look at and you feel excited about. Whatever size you are, you're worthy of being creative and expressing yourself and being experimental, dressing like some kind of dodgy 80s throwback if you're anything like me. Like, here's my pet peeve right here. Just because you're curvy does not mean you have to stick to things that are flowy and flattering and slimming, worst of all. Hell no. Like, what does flattering even mean? Wear exactly what you want to wear. Like, I've discovered that my favourite thing in the whole world is to wear a power suit. I love denim mum shorts. I love a retro t-shirt. I like short dresses. None of those are things that I believed I was worthy of wearing a few years ago, and none of those are ever recommended for my body type. If it was up to the high street, I would constantly be wearing floaty skirts and floaty blouses that didn't cling to any part of my body because everywhere wants me to be ashamed of my body. Boo. Absolutely boo. Whatever you wear, your body shape doesn't change visually. This was also quite an important realization for me. Just because you wear something prescribed by the shops as flattering, you don't instantly drop 10 pounds. You look the same, but you'll look more confident and happier and more awesome in something that you love. So you might as well pick the outfit that makes you feel cool as shit. You know? Number 6 is challenge what you know and what you have been taught. So on a similar kind of vibe to that, once you decide that you don't want to play this game anymore, this weird game of feeling inferior and unworthy, and that you need to change how you look to be happy, it's time to start wondering where the hell this knowledge came from, this like actual brainwashing that ruined my life for so long that still plays over and over in my head. Where the hell does these thoughts even come from? It is weird though, once you start trying to notice these things, it is impossible to stop noticing. We are, unfortunately, surrounded by the diet industry in so many sneaky little forms. It likes to wriggle in, it slithers its way into so many different things. We're all riddled. And the real shitter about it all, apart from the fact it slightly ruins your life, is that pretty much every ideal that's been presented to us about what a body should look like and what we should all be striving to, the perfect body, it was literally invented by diet companies to make hella money. Like 10 years ago when I was growing up, the ideal body, heroin chic, super duper skinny. Fast forward to now, the ideal body, super curvy in the right places. The total opposite of what it was 10 years ago. That just shows you, they just make it up as they go along. And because this perfect body doesn't exist, it's something that will change all the time. Being thin and having that perfect body doesn't change anything. Let's say you do get there, you achieve your goals, nothing changes. We're all basically told that you can't be anything other than slim to be happy. That's the general message, and you can't love yourself unless you are thin. That's just not true. So that's annoying. We've all basically been brainwashed by various companies making money out of our misery, and that'll probably leave you feeling pretty pissed off. I felt super sad when I realised that goal I had of being 8 stone or whatever. I'd been so convinced that hitting that goal was going to solve all my problems. Realising that like final goalposts didn't exist and weren't going to change anything, I felt really sad about that, and letting that ideal go can be like painful. But the best thing to do with that anger and sadness is to channel it into making yourself all powerful. Reclaiming that and turning it into a positive thing for yourself is so powerful. You know, they say that any act of self-love, any decision to feel more positive about yourself, even that decision to just be a little bit kinder to yourself, that's a radical act with all the crap that we're being berated with all the time. Decide that you're not going to be a part of that anymore. You're not going to keep using your time and your hard-earned money to keep the diet industry alive and well. We spit on the diet industry. Number 7, do things to nourish yourself. Nourishing. It all sounds so cheesy, doesn't it? I try to make this as least cheesy as possible. Most of the time I want maximum cheese. Okay, so this one, this nourishment stuff, this is a little realization I had in therapy. A therapy session. Therapy. It's wild, it's magical. It is an extremely privileged position to be able to put money and time into looking after yourself. Fully understand that. If it's a possibility, I really recommend it. It is truly wild. Like, you spend your entire life thinking that you're a freak and a weirdo and that your brain's broken, and then some stranger in an armchair across from you tells you that actually it's pretty normal and that it's all just because of this stuff that happened, and you're like, I see. My therapist asked me what I was doing in terms of self-care to look after myself, and I listed a few things that I've always considered to be self-care. Making yourself look decent, doing a face mask, using a bath bomb, getting my nails done. And after I'd said them all out loud, she very rightly pointed out that every single one of those things was superficial, like for the exterior. So yes, they could be considered self-care, but I wasn't actually taking any time to look after what's going on the inside. It is really important in your journey to moving towards body confidence, wherever you're at, to take some time to actually nourish yourself and nourish your body and your mind. So I mean things like cooking fresh, nutritious meals that can make you love and appreciate food again and not be scared of it and associate it with all the bad things. Exercising for reasons other than weight loss, exercising to feel strong and empowered and to be able to run away from zombies when the apocalypse arrives. Very important. Whether it's painting or reading or rock climbing, whatever it is that you love doing, do things that really nourish you from the inside rather than just keeping all of your attention focused on the outside. Try and shift that balance a little bit. Once I started to dedicate a little bit more time to looking after and nourishing the inside, I felt a lot more of a connection and more of a respect for the outside. It felt a lot more real and something that needed to be taken care of. Number 8, which you have seen me actually do on here in video, have a big wardrobe clear out. Oh, this is a good one. It'll mean about 41 trips to the charity shop, not gonna lie to you, and the charity shop people being like, oh my god, how much stuff do you have, mate? You need to calm down. But once you get to this point, and you're maybe a bit more on board with the idea of body confidence or body acceptance, it's a good time to clear your wardrobe out to match that mindset. Use this as an actual cleansing experience. Like all those stupid juice cleansers you've probably spent £10 million on over the last few years, speaking from experience, which literally do nothing because you have a colon which cleanses your body anyway. That's what it's there for. Cleanse your soul, my child. And just let go of any clothes that fit into the following categories. Here we go. Clothes that you used to wear when you were thin, which you instantly look at and instantly just get filled with sadness. Clothes that you've recently bought and vowed to slim into as motivation. Clothes which you loved back in the day and you're using as inspiration to stop letting yourself go. Any clothes that are too small for you in general. Also clothes that you don't even really like, but you wear them anyway because they hide your body. When you say it all like that, it's quite bleak and it becomes pretty clear that you're holding on to things like that and it brings you nothing but misery and comparison, and it makes you feel inferior every single time you open your wardrobe. Having a wardrobe full of stuff that made me feel not good enough meant that clothes and shopping and fashion was something that I really dreaded and hated and didn't feel interested or connected to. Instead, see tip number 5, do a little rewind here. Find your love of style and try and reconnect to that feeling that a great outfit can give you, and let your wardrobe really empower you instead of leaving you to shrink into the shadows and just reach for that big baggy dress again. Number 9 is be a bit selective with where you shop and where you spend your money. Hey, the good bit about passing on half your existing wardrobe means that you've got a good excuse to go for a little bit of shopping. We all know there is shops out there that can leave you crying in the changing room. Is that a Camila Cabello song? Ain't no crying in the changing room, hey, hey. Anyway, I always now try and look out for shops that have more inclusive sizing, more inclusive branding, marketing, models, and taking that into consideration and going to those shops that have more variety going on can make your experience of shopping a whole lot more enjoyable. Look out for stores and websites where you see yourself in the models, where you see bodies like yours. It's surrounding yourself with as much positive influence as possible in reality as well as on social media. Right, my last tip for having a go at this whole body confidence malarkey. It's a bit of a weird one, but God, sometimes I find anyway, sometimes I just need to give myself a bit of a kick up the arse and a reality check. Remind myself to stop taking clothes so seriously. I will say this one definitely comes last in the chronology of these steps because clothes are a serious thing when you don't want to be seen and you want to shrink your body and you don't want any attention brought onto you and you just want to hide everything. They are a big deal at that point. When you are perhaps further down this line, honestly, you don't half realise that it's something you can loosen up about a bit. We really have a tendency to forget that fashion can be so much fun. I mean, look at my jacket. It's so jazzy. It's all about just throwing yourself into it, and clothing as a concept shouldn't rely on how well it hides your little pooch belly or how slimming it's going to be on your thighs. Oh my God, how boring is that? How boring. How boring to dress for the rest of your life thinking, well, this one covers my belly a bit more. It is a bloody big deal to wear a short dress or a pair of shorts, and it is an amazing achievement when you've had your body hidden away for years. But once you've gotten over that initial hurdle and you have challenged yourself and you've done it and you do feel more comfortable, you definitely kind of realise literally nobody cares. Nobody dies, nobody's having palpitations, nobody's got heartburn because they can see your stretch marks or your cellulite or your belly sticking out a bit. The only difference in the whole universe that is made by you wearing what you want to wear, literally all that happens is you feel a little bit braver and a little bit freer. And it's important to remind yourself that you are doing this for you and for your future and for nobody else. The world continues to spin on its axis, whatever outfit decision you make. Remember that your body is worthy and deserving of being underneath some awesome clothes that you love, whatever shape and size it is. So that's my 10 steps. That was quite intense. I feel like I've just delivered a big speech there. None of these are gonna be groundbreaking and change your life and shake the earth. They're just hopefully somewhere to start that's not terrifying. Almost like little moves of gratitude towards yourself and little moves of respect to yourself. And I think it all boils down to, if you can make that decision to be a little bit kinder to yourself, give yourself a break and get on your own team. My aim is still not to be celebrating my body, because I'm just not there yet, but it is to make sure that I live a super full and happy life regardless of how I feel about my body. It's just pushing the significance of how I feel about my body down a peg or two, so it's not the all-consuming thought, and then everything else can happen around it. I'm really hoping this might be helpful. This is pretty much all the knowledge that I have right now, and I am imparting it unto you, Padawan. And I'm extremely lucky that I kind of found this, and it really kind of pulled me out of a mindset that I never thought I would escape. So thanks. Don't forget, you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. They are both at Lucy Jane Wood, and I will see you guys very soon. Probably looking significantly less jazzy in another video. Bye. Mwah.